You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off! Welcome back to Living with a Classic, and today we're going to start disassembling my 1966 Jaguar S-Type project car. About a month or so ago, I started the disassembly by taking the engine out. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link to up above and down below so you can check that out if you want to. If you're new to the channel, I'll also put a link down below to a playlist on the previous videos on this car, kind of going over why I got it and the plan for it. But just a brief overview. It's a 1966 S-Type. It's been sitting since early to mid 70s, and that's it. It needs a complete restoration. That's going to happen here on the channel. It's a really long-term project. I don't really have a time frame or anything, or sort of a set time when it has to be done. I'm going to work on it, when I feel like it, and this is going to be a labor of love. So it's a really long-term project, and I'm going to take you guys along. It's going to be filmed in detail, kind of different than a lot of other things you see where it's a restoration in a really short amount of time, or a complete restoration in 40 minutes. That's not what this is. This is you get to follow along on a long-term restoration in detail over a long time. So if you're new to my channel, I hope you stick around and consider subscribing. I put new videos every week on some Jaguar and classic car related content. So let's go check out my 1966 S-Type. So here it is, and as you can see, the engine bay is pretty much empty, or as empty as I'm gonna have it for now. The engine is out of it and stored behind me. You can have a look at it a little bit later. And the bonnet is off, but otherwise the car is pretty much complete at the moment. So what I want to do is we're going to remove the doors to lighten everything up, and probably the boot lid as well. And that's probably about it for now. And then in a future episode we will remove the interior as well. So I just want to make a rolling shell, so have the front and rear suspension in it, steering, and pretty much nothing else, because it's going in another workshop where I will do all the metal fabbing work. You got the rust here, cutting and doing all that. I don't want to do that when any other cars are around, so it's a smaller workshop that will be set up just for metal working and just for working on this car. However, it's a little bit uphill to get the car in there, and this thing is quite heavy, and it's actually already a lot lighter since the engine was out. I did try pushing it a bit. It's really easy to push by one person now. So I think with the interior out and the doors and light fixtures and chrome and everything, will be quite a light car and should be no problems pushing it in there. So first thing we're going to do is remove the doors. I've already had I've tested a few things. So there are two options. One is to remove them here, leaving the hinges on the car, or to remove them here, having the hinges go out with the car. So when I removed them complete with the trim and the glass and everything, just take them out as a unit, I tried to get these out. That one moves, that one doesn't, and that one does it. And I tried with a little bit of heat here. Didn't want to move it all, but I didn't want to heat it up too much just because I have all the interior left in here. However, these all seem to move a lot more freely, so I'm going to take those out, and that's how we're going to take the door off. And then I'll see, maybe these will just stay in here for now, or I'll take them out later when I have the interior out and have access to the back of them and able to heat up the captive nut in the back more. So I'm going to get some tools, and then we'll see if we can get these doors off. I've set up a light so you guys can see more, and I'm just sitting in the car. Got the 1/2-inch wrench here, which, yeah, that's 1/2 inch, that's going to fit. Then all I've done is grab 2 blocks of wood and a simple floor jack, and I just sort of supported the bottom of the door since I'm here alone. When this drops, I don't want the door to drop down, so it should be supported by the jack. And then I think I'm going to roll down the window a bit so I can grab it by the window frame when I have to get it out. I'm going to start with the bottom bolts here. There are 3 on each hinge, it looks like. Oh, they weren't as tight as I thought they would be. Let's see how this one is. Oh, not that bad. And there's one more all the way in here that can't really see. Yeah, that one's not really stuck either. So I'm just going to loosen up all of these And then we'll move on to the top hinge. Bottom hinge is all loose now. Before I move on to the top one, I almost forgot about this little doorstop check strap thing here. Has a collar pin in here, but actually I should just bend that straight with my fingers. And yeah, sometimes you can be lazy and not have to go and get a tool. Or maybe I spoke too soon. I'm just gonna get some pliers, get that out, and then we'll move on to the top hinge. In case you're wondering, this is what they look like. They're pretty short and stubby and pointed at the end. So we'll be putting those to the side. Okay, I'm gonna leave this one in place now, and I will undo that one. Start with my left hand while holding the door at the same time. Starting to undo the last one here, and I don't really know how this door is going to behave, but I have my hand here around the frame or arm, and still on that jack, so hopefully this won't be the case of dropping it, but trying to be as careful as I can, working alone. The fun thing to think about is, because I don't think this car has ever really been touched, so I think the last person to put any type of tool on these bolts was the person that built this thing in the factory, probably back in 1966 or 1965. So I don't know, I think that's kind of cool to think about, that it's been that long since someone has put a wrench on it. Not much left now. I'm really curious how heavy these are. Okay. And there we go. All right, one down, 3 to go. In case you're wondering if I made any marks or anything where the hinges were, I did not. However, there is you can see the oxidation here. You can really easily see that on the door as well, so it should be pretty easy to get it back together. Also, I'm going to put this thing together a few times before I'm done. I mean, this rust is going to be fixed. Everything's going to be in primer. Then I'll put the doors back on, you know, check everything. And then it's all going to be disassembled again for paint. So before it gets disassembled for paint, I'll make some marks then. But for now, we're just worried about taking things apart. Also, the rear doors are probably going to get replaced or at least reskinned. I do have another set of doors which I think are in really good shape. So probably just going to replace the rear doors if the other ones fit. But I'll take off the other 3 doors now off camera because it's basically the same thing. And through the magic of editing, in just a couple seconds, you'll see a car with no doors. So a little bit of frustrating update from the back seat. Of course, the rear doors are different. I don't know why I didn't look closer at this before. As you can see, bottom hinge is pretty much the same. You have the plate out here. However, the top hinge, the plate goes in here. I just removed these 2 clips a little bit with my fingers, just push them back, and I felt it's the exact same as here. It's you know, cross head screws in here. And I gave it everything, all these screws, one more go with giant screwdriver. And actually I managed to get the top ones loose. Well, actually all of them except the bottom one. And on the other side I got the 2 top ones loose. So what I'm gonna do is I'll remove the top hinge from here, and the bottom ones I'll remove from the doors. So you can see here, I even tried with a bit of heat, as much as I dared heat it up with some of the trim and stuff around here, and still it wouldn't budge. I don't want to ruin the screws. So that's the plan for here. A little bit different on the back doors. But then I got, you know, the back door on that side to do, and the front door there. So I'll report back when all these are off. I'm just working on the last 2 bolts here, and then it's the last door. And the last door. Alright, here are the 4 doors. I'm going to wrap them up individually in some blankets, tape that off, and then I'll move them into storage. I'll do the same thing with any other parts I took off before, like the bonnet there. We have some of the exhaust over here, and fans and stuff. We'll just go in boxes and try and keep it fairly organized and label everything to make it easier when everything has to be restored and go back. The only thing that's really staying up here in the workshop is the engine, which at the moment sits over here on a pallet I cut down. So it's just a little bit temporary at the moment. I am going to construct in the next few days just some blocks of wood to have some motor mounts up front here, and then probably some blocks to support it up there. It's just sitting on the sump at the moment. I don't want it to do that too long because it's not really designed to do that, but a week or so is not really going to hurt it. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll put some ratchet straps or something around it so it can't move, but it's actually really, really stable. And I have kept the blanket over. I just took it off right now to show you guys. Of course, I don't want any dirt or something falling down into it. Don't have the spark plugs in there because they were a pain to take out. I'm not going to put them back in. We're going to chase the threads and drill out at least one spark plug when the cylinder head is off, but that's way, way in the future. But over here, we now have a car with no bonnet and no doors. So that was pretty straightforward. The only thing I wasn't aware of was that it was different for the rear doors, and there was one more screw here, which thankfully came out pretty easily. However, the lower ones down here, they're just really difficult to get out. They'll require some heat and penetrating fluid. I did spray everything down with penetrating fluid about a week ago, let it sit, but still a few of them are stuck in place, so that's something I'll tackle later. But yeah, I think it looks pretty cool actually with no doors. It's a lot easier to get in and out. So what needs to be removed on the outside still is the boot lid in the back. There are no lights in the back or bumper. That's all off already. I am going to leave the windscreen in place and the rear window in place for now. I will be removing the front lights, side lights, the front bumper. Things like the wing mirror and stuff like that are going to go off. And then, of course, in the next episode, we will be removing the interior. Haven't really decided about what I'm doing with the dashboard yet, if I'm taking all of it out. It kind of depends how the steering rack is mounted, if that can still be in place and sort of steer the car with the dashboard out. But if not, I'll move it down there with the dashboard and then remove that when the car is down there. And that's it for this episode. Now I have an S-Type with no doors. I think it is a lot lighter as well. Each door they're surprisingly heavy with all that mechanism, and it's pretty, thick old-fashioned steel. So like I mentioned, next thing is to start removing the seats. I'm going to take good care of those. They will be treated once more with leather care and then wrapped in towels or blankets, put away in storage as well. Center console, all of this around here. I will be leaving things like the headliner in place for now. It's being replaced anyway. And I'll have to see about the dash, if that is going to be removed or not. I'm probably at least going to take a few things out, like if the dash needs to be in place this side for the steering, I will be removing the center part and the other part and removing the dials. Just to be able to put things away safely so nothing really happens to them. Raining pretty much every single day here, so when I'm moving it down there, it's probably going to be pouring down rain, and I don't want to get the stuff wet because all the dials and everything is still in really good shape, and indicators and the chrome and stuff in here are still in really, really nice shape. So let me know what you guys think. Do you like the whole idea of doing a pretty detailed restoration where you get to follow along pretty much on everything? Yes, it will be lots of videos, and it will be over probably a couple of years. Let me know if you're interested in following along with that. Of course, there will still be the regular content on my channel on all the other cars, which is a little bit more fast-paced. But let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. And until next time, I'm Adam, and this was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.